So this is the self-test session for week 7. So this is meant to replicate a portion of the, or to help you prepare for a portion of the section 2 part of the end of term examination. You'll find this is a case-based one, so you'll find the case for it if you go into the Moodle module, the module Moodle page for MN330, Business Ethics and Society. Scroll down to week 7 and you get to week 7 and there is the case for this. This is the case that was used in class. So if you get a chance, have a read of that case. If you manage to download it from the Moodle site, it'll probably be more visible, and have a read of that before answering the following questions. So as before, this is section 2. This is based on material covered across weeks 1 to 6. The same warning as before, that this is just a simulation rather than a replication of the section 2 of the summer examination for Business Ethics and Society. Again, it's designed to assist students to self-test their knowledge and revision strategies and to familiarise yourselves with the structure of the exam. So you should use the MCQ answer sheet for this as well. This only covers material covered in the first 6 weeks of the module. This section of the case will, in the final exam at the end of the semester, will cover material studied over the entire module. And as again, just because something appears as a question here, you shouldn't take it as an indication that material will necessarily appear in the final exam. Also need to warn you that section 2 in the final exam will consist of 30 multiple choice questions. Each correctly ones are worth 1, unanswered or incorrectly answered ones are worth no marks. The maximum number of marks that we award for the section of the exam is 30 and the minimum is 0. In the class, due to time restraints, it was only possible to answer 20 questions in this session. So that's what's happening here. But in the final exam, it'll be 30. For revision purposes, only 20 sections in this session. And as again, if you can get used to using and filling out the full MCQ answer sheet, this will help you to be prepared for, there'll be no surprises in the exam and every aspect will be familiar to do it. But just to warn you as well, again, that failure to include any of this information on your answer sheet and failure to use the MCQ answer sheet and inserting it into the pink answer book will result in you receiving no grade for the examination. So the questions, after having read the case. Question 1. Jerry found himself making mistakes in his work, from missing meetings to misspelling important words in documents. He began to feel as if his internal unconscious desires and needs at work were becoming less manageable. How does Freud describe this? A. The uncanny. B. Transference. C. Thanatos. D. Parapraxis. Or E. Cathexis. As before, I'll just leave a space of a few seconds between each slide, but you can pause it if you need more time. Question 2. His internal unconscious desire needs at work are becoming less manageable for himself. Which part of Jerry's unconscious, according to Freud, does this represent? A. Ego. B. Ego ideal. C. Superego. D. Id. Or E. None of the above. Question 3. What is the part of Freud's module of the psyche discussed in question 2 that represents moral thought? A. Ego. B. Ego ideal. C. Superego. D. Id. Or E. None of the above. Question 4. What's the part of Freud's model discussed in questions 2 and 3 that attempts to mediate between unrepressed desires and instincts and drives and conscious moral thought? A. Ego. B. Ego ideal. C. Superego. D. Id. Or E. None of the above. Question 5. He realized that the reason he had chosen his initial career was because he'd been unsure about what he really wanted to do, but had observed other people competing to do it. So what psychoanalytic theory best describes this situation? A. The work ethic. B. Mimetic desire. C. The collective unconscious. D. Moral anxiety. Or E. None of the above. Question 6. What's the name of the theorist who's most closely associated with the correct answer to the previous question? A. Weber. B. Girard. C. Jung. D. Freud. Or E. None of the above. Question 7. He resolved to do some personal reflection and began a process known as vocational ideation. He began by drafting a statement on the type of work that he'd ideally like to do. What's this stage of the vocational ideation process known as? A. Vocational pre-ideation. B, vocational ideation research, C, vocational ideation post-reflection, D, occupational choice, or E, none of the above. Question 8. As a result of this, he considered developing a career in organizational development consulting and began finding opportunities for doing elements of the management work so he could develop the most realistic understanding of what this role involved. What's this stage of the vocational ideation process known as? Is it known as A, vocational pre-ideation, B, vocational ideation research, C, vocational ideation post-reflection, D, occupational choice, or E, none of the above? Question 9. Finally, he compared his initial expectations of the role with his lived experience of it in order to assess whether it met his need to satisfy his true vocation. What stage is this stage of the vocational ideation process known as? A, vocational pre-ideation, B, vocational ideation research, C, vocational ideation post-reflection, D, occupational choice, and E, none of the above. Question 10. According to Max Weber, what's vocation otherwise known as? A, beruf, B, calling, C, job, D, career, or E, none of the above. Question 11. Jerry's first assignment as an organization development consultant involved him applying an analytical approach that had initially been developed to understand the various forces that influenced the catastrophic space shuttle launch decision in January of 1986. What was the name of the book that this approach was described in? A, In Search of Excellence, B, Exploring Corporate Strategy, C, In Our Own Voice, D, The Challenger Launch Decision, or E, After Virtue? Question 12. Who wrote the book that's the correct answer to the previous question? A, Tom Peters, B, Jerry Johnson, C, Carol Gilligan, D, Diane Vaughan, or E, Alistair McIntyre? Question 12. This tool examined the broad societal forces which impact on the environment in which decisions are made. According to the model, that's the correct answer to the previous questions. What are these broader societal forces known as? A, structure, B, culture, C, agency, D, management, or E, none of those? Again, according to the model, that's the correct answer to the previous questions. What are the norms that exist within an organization? What are they known as? Are they known as A, structure, B, culture, C, agency, D, management, or E, none of the above? Again, according to the model, that's the correct answer to the previous questions. What is an individual manager's freedom to make a decision known as? So what's an individual manager's freedom to make a decision known as? Is it again A, structure, B, culture, C, agency, D, management, or E, none of the above? Question 16. The organization that Jerry consulted for had found it difficult to change their organizational culture. This had meant that they could not develop and sell new product ranges despite the fact that their existing product lines were becoming obsolete as a result of disruptive new technologies. What's this situation known as? Is it A, readiness, B, business freeze, C, corporate inertia, D, cultural lock-in, or E, strategic drift? The organization that Jerry consulted for had found it difficult to change their organizational culture. This meant that they could not sell new product ranges despite the fact that their existing product lines were becoming obsolete as a result of disruptive new technologies. What is this situation otherwise known as? Is it known as A, readiness, B, business freeze, C, corporate inertia, D, cultural lock-in, or E, strategic drift? Question 17. Jerry analysed the organisation using a tool which identified the organisation's symbols, structures, control systems, rituals and routines and stories. What's the name of this tool? Is it A, creative destruction, B, strategic change, C, the culture web, D, disruption, or E, none of the above? Question 18. How many elements does the tool that's mentioned in question 17, does this include? A4, B5, C7, D9, or E10? Question 19. Jerry analyzed the organization using a tool which identified the organization's symbols, structures, control systems, rituals and routines and stories. Who's the theorist who developed this? A. Kohlberg, B. Porter, C. Johnson, D. Schumann, or E. None of the above. And finally, question 20. A clear view of what the organization believed itself to be and what it's for. According to the model, that's the correct answer to questions 16 to 19. What's this element of the tool called? Is it A. Culture, B. Paradigm, C. Center, D. Power web, or E. None of the above? So quickly, just to go through the answers for each of these. The correct answer to question 1, D, parapraxis. Question 2, D, the id. Question 3, C, the superego. Question 4, A, the ego. Question 5, B, mimetic desire. Question 6, B, René Girard. Question 7, A, vocational pre-ideation. Question 8, B, vocational ideation research. Question 9, C, vocational ideation post-reflection. Question 10, B, calling, although A would have been correct also, that's what Weber called it, but really I'm looking for B, calling. It wouldn't be fair to ask you A because we didn't cover it, I think, too much in lectures. Answer is B, calling. Question 10, D, the Challenger launch decision. Question 12, D, Diane Vaughan. Question 13, A, structure. Question 14, B, culture. Question 15, C, agency. Question 16, E, strategic drift. Question 17, C, culture web. Question 18, C, 7. Question 19, C, Johnson. And finally, B, the paradigm.